Hello friends, AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink, and of course I'm going to be using some of the new Halloween products from Simon Says Stamps Stamptember release. If you missed my release and review video, I'll have a link to it at the end of this one. So I'm starting off with the Toil and Trouble stamp set, and I have some Neenah Classic Crest Solar White 80-pound cardstock, and I put it in my MISTI. And I used pretty much all the images from this set. And I'm inking them up with Simon's Intense Black ink. And I'm going to stamp these a couple times because they're brand new stamps. You know, want to get a good impression, get a good image. So I stamped these a couple times. Once these are stamped, I am going to color all of these in with Copic Markers. So I'll have the lids on screen of the colors I used. I did very simple basic coloring with pretty much all of my like kind of Halloween go-to combos. So for the cauldron and the witch's hat, I'm using cool grays since I want them to be black. So I'm using C9 and then I think C7 and C5, something like that. And then my also go-to is just darkest to lightest. If you are newer to coloring with alcohol markers, specifically Copics, or you struggle with control, etc., that sort of a thing, lightest to darkest, you have a lot more leeway, a lot more control. I've been coloring with Copics for, goodness, well over a decade. Closer to 15 years? I honestly can't remember how long it's been. It's been a really long time. I like just darkest to lightest because it's a laziness sort of a thing. It's faster. That's my literal only reason, but to have more control and to be able to build more depth, lightest to darkest, always. But yeah, I just, like with all things, do as I say, not as I do. So anyhow, did the cauldron and the witch's hat, and then I did a bright green for the, potion in the cauldron and the bubbles. And then of course purples. Purples can be one of the, and are, really. And it's not just Copics, it's everything in general. Like coloring with purples, blending with purples, those sort of things. Purples are finicky, and yet I love purple. Hence, like, obviously by the ring I wear. But yeah, I just went back and forth a couple times to get a decent blend with these purples and just love. And then decided to do the witch's legs, orange and yellow, because I got to get all those colors in there. Like for me, Halloween colors, like my standard Halloween colors: black, green, purple, orange, a little bit of yellow, why not? But then I like to mix it up too, so got all the orange areas colored, and then I'm going to use the yellow for the rest of the little stripes on her legs. I was thinking of the Wizard of Oz when I was doing this. I was like, oh, you could do the legs peeking out as if the house was dropped on it. I got ideas, man. I don't have enough time, so I just share the ideas with you guys. Someone else can, create it. That's the first thing I thought of when I looked at this set. I was like, that'd be perfect. So, anywho, colored everything up, did the broomstick. Once all my coloring was complete, I just took my Sakura Jelly Roll 10. This is the widest white gel pen, and my absolute favorite. Like, I recently just ordered extras because I realized, well, I thought, I'm pretty sure I have actually more than I thought, but I didn't see them, so I ordered extras. But love it. I love these white gel pens. So added a bunch of white gel pen highlights, just randomly, as always, never following any rules about light sources or anything like that, because I just don't. And then I die cut everything with the coordinating wafer dies. And I pointed this out during my release and review video, but I love how the cauldron wafer die not only die cuts the cauldron, but it cuts a little slit right at like the bubbling potion so that you can stick things in it, which is just brilliant. I love it. I love little extras like that, because I would never think of that on my own probably, or I would be too lazy to try and cut, especially a curve. It's one thing if it's a straight line, I can use a craft knife without cutting a finger off, but on a curve, anyway, die cut everything. And then my card base is just a 3 1/4 inch by 6 1/4 inch mini slimline card, and I pulled out the new Concentric circles background stamp. This is such a or Concentric Doodle same thing. Such a quirky stamp, and it works so well for Halloween, and yet I've seen already so many creations using it in other ways, and I just love it. But I was like, it just had to go in the background. I don't know. I was like, I have to use this stamp. So I stamped it on the card front just with the same intense black ink. And then I cleaned the stamp off and decided I was going to stamp it on the inside. But rather than just stamp it like on the, you know, the main inside, you know what I mean? Like to the right of the score line, I was like, you know, I'm just going to stamp it like right on the inside of the card, just like so. So I used one of the new inks. Again, raved about these in my release and review video. This was my first time actually I stamped my little swatches, but there will be more coming. More videos, blending, all the fun things. But I inked up the stamp with the LIMELICIOUS ink. And then I'm going to stamp that directly onto the inside of the card. So got that stamped. So I've just got that fun, crazy little pattern going on the inside as well. So I did that, and then off camera, I also stamped and heat embossed the sentiments. So I'll get to that in a minute. I also decided to add splatter because of course you're gonna add splatter. So I pulled out a couple of my distress paints. I pulled out Squeeze Lemonade and Mowed Lawn to try and get that sort of more limey color, because I don't have Twisted Citron distress paint, because if I did, that's what I would have used. So I'm just gonna, you know, mix my own. So a dollop of Squeeze Lemonade, and then I just added a bit of the Mowed Lawn to it, swirled it around. I did actually add a tiny bit of water to this. Most of these paints are the distress paints are a very thinner consistency. It literally just depends on the color. And so this time I decided to thin it out just a little bit and then heavily splattered this all over my card front. And then immediately washed out my brush, because distress paints, when they dry, they are permanent. And regardless, if you're using any sort of acrylic paint, wash your brushes immediately, because once it's dry, if it's dried into your brush, you've just wrecked your brush. So cleaned everything up, let that paint splatter dry. And then I stuck the witch's legs in the cauldron. Love it. And then popped on a bunch of 3D foam squares. I decided this card's technically a little more simple in a sense. And since I'm putting everything right onto the card base and not doing like any other layers, I just popped everything up with the foam squares just to give it some, you know, dimension and interest and all that sort of stuff. So I kind of created my little like scene with the cauldron and the broom and the witch's legs, and then popped that onto my card front. And then, yeah, the sentiments are from that set. I stamped the Trick or Treat one with black ink and clear heat embossed it. And then the other sentiments I stamped onto black cardstock and just white heat embossed those. So I got the front Trick or Treat, smell my feet. That's been playing in my head the entire time making this, the entire time like editing this video. Anyway, adhered all of that, adhered all my little, you know, potion bubbles, and on the inside I adhered the Happy Halloween sentiment and the witch's hat. You could always be done here, but then I was like, as always, I have a lifetime supply of bling, multiple lifetime supplies of bling. So I pulled out these Trinity Stamps Glamorous Grape Bubbles, because the purple went really well with the purple of the witch's shoes. So I was like, this is meant to be. Just needed that, you know, I just needed a little more purple. So sprinkled those onto the card front, and I'm going to adhere them into place with some dabs of Craft Tacky glue. And then once those are adhered, I'm going to pair this card with one of Simon's mini slimline black envelopes. And this card is complete. So really fun, just cute. It's Halloween. I love it. And like I've been saying over and over, stay tuned. I have so many videos coming. So many. And with this one, check out this description box below the video. I will have a link to my blog post. I will have a supply list, links to all the supplies I used, all that good stuff will be in the description box below. Thank you all so much for watching and subscribing and thumbs upping and commenting, and I'll see you all very soon in the next video. Bye!